You know, I wanted to go over a little bit, since I've got a break in the weather, about pasture-raised pigs, or pigs raised in the woods. Well, they hear me talking. You can see what they do. It's time to come running. Most people think that you have to have really heavy fencing, super secure area to raise pigs. And I'll agree, if you're going to raise, if you're going to have 30, 40, 50 pigs or whatever in a small area, you better have a strong spot to put them. You need big fences, and they'll still tear them up. But when you're raising just a few pigs, it doesn't take much. The most expensive thing about every bit of this that I have is the fence charger. And you can, if you have electricity where you can just run an extension cord or something to it, you can buy a cheap fence charger and do it. You can get them for $40 or $50 and you won't have that much money in it. All I have to keep these pigs in here, they have about 2/3 of an acre, almost an acre, to run around on. This is all I have. This little 2-wire fence. And it's, if they wanted to, they could just push straight through it. It wouldn't, I mean, it's not going to stop them. I can step on it and push it all the way to the ground. It's a psychological barrier more than anything. Once they get hit a few times, they don't want it anymore. And to show you what I'm talking about, there's not even a battery in it. It's not even hooked up. We've been getting so much rain in the last, I guess about the last 2 weeks, that there just hasn't been any sun. It's been overcast and cloudy, and the battery went dead. I took it out, put it on the charger, and I've just been busy and forgot about it. I think it's been about a week since there's been any electricity on this fence, and they just don't want to touch it. You can't take grown pigs that are not used to electric fences, a small fence like this, and put them in it, and it work. It's just not going to happen. They'll go right through it. But if you get them small and you train them, which is really easy to do, it works. They don't want to touch this fence. I've touched it. I don't want to do it again either, so I don't blame them. I've never stuck my nose on it. They have. They don't like it. The way I taught these pigs to stay inside this electric fence is when they were little, and you can go back and see some of my older videos. When they were little, I built this small little pen. It's a 16 foot by 16. And I had the electric fence going around the inside of it. They didn't know what it was. They just knew it was just a yellow wire. Well, when they touch it, they can't go through the fence. It forces them to back up. That's the only, because there's a barrier there. And as they got older, every time they touched it, they had to run backwards. Now, since they're bigger, I mean, they're both over 300 pounds. If they touch that fence, first thing they do is they let out a really loud squeal that you can hear all over the place, but they back up. They immediately try to go backwards. Even if they're rooting around underneath it, digging around, and it hits them in the top of the head, they don't go forward, they go backwards. And that's just because growing up, that's what they learned, was the only way to go was backwards to get away from it. And these pigs were little bitty when I got them. This bottom string right here, they could actually just walk right under that and it would barely go over the top of their back. I mean, you can see some of the early videos from a year ago. They were really, really small. And I've never had a problem with them. I've never had the pigs get out. Even when the electricity, the charger is turned off, I don't have to worry about it. The chickens go back and forth through it, underneath it all the time. It doesn't bother them a bit. That's really You know, that's really all there is to it. When you give them a larger area to run around on, they're not near as, it doesn't pressure them as much to get out because they still have a lot of room to go and do other things. If they're in a really small pen, they're always wanting out. You know, they see everything else. This big hole, they didn't do that. I did that with the backhoe. But you can see all through there. We'll try to come down here. I'm trying to stay out of the pen with the pigs because they want their belly rubs and they're all muddy and they're going to get me nasty. But you can see down the fence row, they root around and go right up to the fence. They don't go over it. You see it all the way through there. And you can tell the difference between this and the way all this looks. They've got all the dirt turned over. I'm actually going to come through here. The pigs will be gone soon. It won't be that much longer, and the pigs won't be here. So I'm going to come through here, and I'm going to take a brush cutter, and all the little shrubs and the just underbrush and everything besides the trees, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to clean all that out. I'm going to overseed all of this, and that way the sun can get in here, and then I'll have grass growing all through here, and I'll get all this cleaned up. I'm pulling the fences up. That way I can get through here and do some work. And this will be a nice area for pigs in another year or so. If I decide to do a couple of more pigs before then, I'll just get another spot and find another place to put them and let this kind of recover. This will all be covered with grass. It'll be nice and lush again. This is all hickory trees, so the hickory nuts will be everywhere. And pigs really like the hickory nuts. But they've done a really good job of cleaning all this up. Once I come through here, cut all this brush down, this will be a really nice little spot. I could put permanent fencing over here. And once we get grass in here and get the ground firmed up, I could put goats or just whatever. It's just, you know, whatever I decide to put in here. The pigs have really done a good job of working it. Doing that right there, just being pigs. They're scooting their noses around all the little stumps and the shrubs and turning it all over, and they're looking for bugs and worms. And they have no intentions of trying to come over on the other side. But you can see they're like a couple of big babies. But that's it. You know, like I said, I've had people tell me when I first started doing this, I'd be chasing pigs all over the mountains, and it hasn't happened. One thing you do have to worry about, especially in the beginning, when they're rooting around, they just did this. They'll come through here and flip stuff on top of the fence. So you need to come through here, you know, at least once a day or every other day. Just check your fences like any other electric fence. And you're going to have to do that no matter what animals you're trying to keep inside of an electric fence. The stuff's going to fall on it, and you know, you don't want it to shorten out and run your battery down. But if you decide you want pigs, you don't have the budget or the means to build big corrals or concrete slabs or any of that stuff, you don't have to do it that way. This was super simple. I put all this fence up in just a couple of hours. I ran through here, just through the middle of the woods with a weed eater, knocked some stuff out of the way. These little fiberglass poles just pushed down in the ground, and that's it. It was super, super cheap. And it's kept my pigs in for a year. So there's really not that much to it. Well, we had a break in the weather. I hear a lot of thunder, so I suppose we're about to get the next bout of rain. But that's it, guys. That's the pigs. I'm gonna go up here and check on the chickens. Got babies hatching. So I'm gonna have a whole bunch of little ones in a brooder here before too long.